That is me. I am. What up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy Mac the Giants fan, and I'm here with my guys, the Horsemen, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas. Y'all know the one and only NYG Jeffy T, always looking down on the shining that bright light. It's Superbowl weekend, and we about to get this thing kicked off. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go! Man, I love your intro, Mac.
Yo, yo, yo. That was such a great intro. Man.
That was so fired up and passionate, man. It was great.
What's up, Namir? Already got comments in the chat. We'll probably get to that. What's up, Zion? How's this going? You're going to the draft in Detroit. I'm going to try to make it out there. Try to see the boys, Big Blue.
That is one thing I need to do in my life is go to the
absolutely.
draft.
I know Mac went to the Kansas City one. He can give his he gave his opinion on that. Mac, let's just hear it real fast before we begin the show. Our Super Bowl special. How is going to the draft, and would you recommend it to anybody that haven't been to the draft?
I mean, you never been. Definitely check it out, man. I mean, it's definitely it's just the atmosphere. You can't duplicate that atmosphere any other way. I mean, it's super dope. It's probably one place you ever can go where you'll literally be amongst a multitude of fans from every team in the league all over the place. You're seeing all kinds of different random jerseys and paraphernalia and merch. It's super dope, man. It's a lot of people. It's a crowd. It's a lot of big hustle and bustle. It's definitely rough on the feet a little bit. You're gonna be on your feet. It could be a long day if you're out there really hanging out and attending. But it's always fun. It's always a good time, man. I've been to 2 drafts in my life, and I've had a good time both times, man. I went to the one in Philly back in 2017 when the Giants drafted Evan Ingram in the first round, and last year in Kansas City, went out there chopping up with the Big Blue crew, man. So. Definitely a super dope experience, man. It's fun, good times, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're here, guys. This is our Super Bowl special, but we will be probably covering the awards that happened, NFL honors that just happened. There's a lot of shocking news. A lot of awards that we thought, could have gone another way. So we'll probably cover that. We'll probably cover some of these players that got anointed to join the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Class of 2024, the most prestigious award in the NFL, is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So we'll touch on that, and then we'll go into our Super Bowl special. Without further ado, we'll probably start up the top with the MVP. So Lamar Jackson ends up taking home the MVP for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's get your guys' thoughts on that. Starting with Adam. Adam, what's your thoughts on Lamar Jackson winning the MVP?
Well. I think he deserved it to a certain extent. I don't mind it. I know some people were mad that it was unanimous. I thought if we're giving MVP, Dak Prescott could have easily been MVP. Josh Allen could easily have been MVP, but he did elevate his game this year. They were the top team in the AFC, so. I just hope he continues to grow. He showed me a lot of maturity as a passer this year, which I thought was interesting. He was very dynamic running the football, but his pocket presence got him. And then I think in the playoffs, I think it was an anomaly. I think he met Patrick Mahomes, and I think sometimes the Mahomes effect, which I said to some people before, it's like when you play Jordan. Okay, you're playing the big magnet personality. You got to live up and raise up to that occasion, and that sometimes hinders your ability, and sometimes the pressure gets too big, or you're off by a fumble here, a fumble there, and the game turns. You know what I mean? So he deserves it for being the number 1 team in the AFC. But I don't have really much to say other than he deserved it. He was one of the top candidates. I might have went with Dak Prescott or Josh Allen, but Lamar Jackson got it. Congratulations to Lamar. I enjoyed watching him this season.
Nicely said. Now, Mac, what's your thoughts on Lamar Jackson winning MVP?
I mean, Lamar,
like Adam just said, I mean, I'm not going to sit and act like the guy didn't necessarily deserve it. But you look at these awards, take them with a grain of salt, and you look at them. You say, "Is this the MVP of the regular season? Are we including maybe what they got accomplished in the postseason as well in the mix?" It seems like, well, not even with this award, and maybe even a couple of the other ones, and maybe just some of the postseason had a little bit of influence on these awards too as well. But I don't really know that here nor there. I mean, personally, I think if you're measuring who the most valuable player was, maybe this season, statistically, especially, as an individual, I would have probably leaned more towards the Dak Prescott. He put up some phenomenal numbers in the regular season. And so
Well,
I'm kind of
thanks.
right there on board with everything Adam just said. I'm not going to sit here and complain totally that Lamar Jackson won. Oh, he shouldn't have won. I mean, still a pretty well deserved award. I mean, he went out there and he also did have a tremendous season as well and led his team to, like Adam said, the top of the AFC. And he just ran to that buzzsaw, like you said, named Patrick Mahomes. He ran into the best in the world. And usually the best in the world wins, usually. So this is how it works out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys said that perfectly. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott should have won MVP. Yeah, that's what voting comes down to, and that's what sometimes I get so mad at. Just for example, where the college, the AP, just for example, the AP where they put some of these teams, like who, why is the top 25 even a ranking? You know what I'm saying? So honestly, with MVP, you want your guys to win, but sometimes with these votes, it doesn't swing that way. I believe that shout out to Lamar Jackson. They probably looked at what he did on the ground, what he meant, maybe how much plays that he extended on third downs and stuff like that, and what he meant for that organization. What Max said perfectly, what Adam said perfectly too. Maybe they're not, looking at so much of what you do in the playoffs is based off of the 18 weeks, the 17 games. But that moving on, we got Christian McCaffrey. Let's start at Mac. What's your thoughts of him? Obviously, give your thoughts. We all kind of knew it was probably going to go to Christian McCaffrey. I honestly would have gave him MVP, but we all know with quarterbacks what they do with that. But let's give your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was a well deserved award. Christian McCaffrey was an absolute offensive weapon this season for the San Francisco 49ers. You're right, he did things that made him very worthy of the MVP award, but we all knew how that was going to go down. He was in there ranked against three or four pretty very well deserving quarterbacks, and that's just pretty much gives him no chance at the MVP award. We just know how that goes down. It's just like the Heisman Trophy in college. If you got a couple of great quarterbacks, pretty much any other position player is not going to have a chance at winning the award. It just is what it is. So this is kind of, I don't want to call it a secondary award, but in a sense, it's like that MVP secondary award. This is the award that usually goes to the guys like have a season like Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill. This is the award that's pretty much preserved for them. Like I can go back to Cooper Cup a couple years ago, had that tremendous season, and thought that was really MVP worthy, but he had to settle for this award as well. And it's just what it is. What it is. I mean, I have no beef with this at all. Christian McCaffrey was definitely an absolute stud all season long for the 49ers, and he's a big reason why we're going to see him playing on Sunday. And I'm happy to see the young man get an opportunity out there in the big game because he's been one of the absolute best at his position his entire career. So
Absolutely. Good take on that. What's your thoughts, Adam, on Christian McCaffrey winning?
Well, I'm going to do a little different here. Christian McCaffrey reminds me of the modern day Marshall Falk, the do it all back out of the backfield. Can stay in there and third down and blitz and block, but he can also run receiver routes. He does everything. Marshall Falk was that back. Don't ask me. Go watch the tape. Okay, when he played on that greatest show on turf, he was the main reason that offense worked so well is because he was such a dual threat in the backfield. Well, guess what? We now have our modern day Marshall Falk here, where a guy like Christian McCaffrey does everything out of the backfield, catching the ball. And I think he's more valuable. And when we talk about valuable players, excuse me, he's more valuable than anybody on this team, right? Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel's out. They're still cooking with Christian McCaffrey in the game. right? But if Christian McCaffrey's out of the game, I don't think they have the same dynamic plays that they had. Remember, they brought him in a year ago or late last year, and all he's done is help them. But this year, I think he took it over the top because he was the main reason. Kyle Shanahan built an offense around him, okay? And when you have a weapon like this, I want to see him do well. I'd love to see him win the Super Bowl. Hell, I'd love to see him be Super Bowl MVP, right? If he deserves it, if they give him the rock and tote the mail, because that's how good of an impact he's had on the team. And I just want people to think about Marshall Faulk and think about Christian McCaffrey because they are very similar in what they do.
I love it. Shout out Raphael. What's up? Thank you for joining us. Great takes, guys. And yes, absolutely, should have won MVP, but we all know how the league goes. And shout out to Christian McCaffrey. Nicely done bringing up Marshall Faulk, Adam. And that being said, over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. So highly respected for winning that award. Alrighty, let's bounce it back over to Mac. We're going to start with him again because I believe he predicted this player at the start of the year, and this player did win Defensive Player of the Year. So, Mac, what is your thoughts on Myles Garrett winning Defensive Player of the Year?
Well, I mean, I'm not as upset about it as a lot of other people are. I mean, some people were downright butthurt about this last night when they handed this award out. I mean, look, to act like Myles Garrett didn't deserve to win this award is absolutely crazy to me. I mean, I get it. T.J. Watt had a tremendous year. He has tremendous years every year. I mean, T.J. Watt, unfortunately, may have set a standard for himself where the league looks at what he did this year as just another normal T.J. Watt season, And it might be unfortunate for him, but Myles Garrett absolutely deserved this award. He was a game record most of this season. He definitely held things down on that Cleveland defense, which is one of the absolute best in the league. And I just don't understand. I mean, people were just going crazy last night about Myles Garrett winning this award and saying how could that be and this, that, and the other. Look, Myles Garrett had a tremendous year, and he earned this award, and he deserved this award. And that's all I got to say about it. Myles Garrett had a hell of a season, man, and he's definitely well deserved of this award, man. So I don't know. People need to calm down and stop overreacting to everything, man. Look, T.J. Watt will get his one of these days, man, I'm sure. But this season, Myles, they gave this award to Myles Garrett, and I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what makes the NFL so special. I'm going to pass it over to Adam. I don't want him to lose his train of thought. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, it's funny because you're going to motivate somebody, right? TJ Watt may come out next year and say, you know what, 17 sacks ain't good enough for you. I'm going to break the sack record now. You know what I mean? And go out and go get his Super Bowl MVP, his defensive MVP, because Myles Garrett did deserve it. He was a phenomenal player the entire way through. You could argue that Max Crosby could be Defensive Player of the Year, the way he played for his team and helped carry that defense, which was an average team. Now, they didn't win many games, so that's probably why he's not in the conversation. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, didn't have the greatest of seasons, and TJ Watt did get injured. I guarantee you if TJ Watt doesn't get injured and banged up, he gets to play a couple more of those games, boom, he might hit the sack record. Who knows what would happen. But if I'm TJ Watt, don't feel bad. Just come out and wreck the league like you always do. You know you're going to the Hall of Fame. And so is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has 88 sacks in his career. I think he's still fairly young, 1995. So we're talking 28 years old. So defensive ends these days stay till about mid-30s. So you got to think that he's already won a Defensive Player of the Year award. If he's already at 88 sacks, which means he's about 12 sacks away from getting to 100. So he's probably going to eclipse that next year. And that's something that to me kind of gets you on the doorstep of the Hall of Fame for me, getting 100 sacks. That's like, and especially if you're a good player. So, because my standard is Lawrence Taylor, and then I go down. Like, he's the gold standard for me. And then I go down, then I put like Deacon Jones and a few other guys in that realm. And Myles Garrett, I want to be able to remember him as one of the greats. And because he plays for Cleveland and maybe not LA, he's not getting the same recognition that he normally would. So congratulations, Myles Garrett. It's basically pick your flavor on the defensive side.
That's absolutely right, facts, and that's what makes the NFL so special. You know, it's so great because so much competition and so much elite athletes. You know what I'm saying? You know that get tested. Back in the old days, yeah, they used to. There's ways to get things by. You know, to get basically juiced up or whatever they need to do. But regardless of the point, there's athletes that is just special and when Aaron Donald was doing Aaron Donald things, you know, he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year back to back to back to back to back. You know, he shared it with others, and it just goes to show you what Max said and what Adam said. It's like you know, there's a lot of great players in this league that inspires and builds energy and shares techniques and learns off of each other. You know what I'm saying? And strives to be better. But let's move on. We'll start with Adam here. We got CJ Stroud. We all kind of knew this was coming, but let's give our reactions to it. We got CJ Stroud absolutely dominating, shattering. I want to say shattering. Yeah, let's just shattering the rookie record on what rookies can do in the NFL when it comes to that quarterback position. And then you got one playing in the second year already in the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. So that being said, we'll talk about that later on in the show. Adam, what's your thoughts on CJ Stroud?
I absolutely love it. The NFL got it right. I understand Puka Nakua had it, but let's be honest, this award is for this, right? If there's many quarterbacks that come and go and don't get this award every year, right? It's not like Kenny Pickett won it his year. It's not like many guys won it on his year. So the fact that C.J. Stroud did it and brought the guys to the playoffs and elevated them, you know, that's what put him over the top. And it's one of those things where if you watch C.J. Stroud's story going into the draft, his stock went down. He can't run. Can he do this? Can he do that? And to come out and basically go to a team with basically nothing on there. Their quarterback was Davis Mills. Okay. They didn't have the defense that we thought they were going to have. And his play, literally, the coach, players, everyone alike said he elevated us with his energy and his presence. And I hope this is the start of something big. The Texans were big winners this award show. I'm not trying to spoil the lead, but they're headed in the right direction. They got their franchise quarterback, and I don't think this is the last time we see C.J. Stroud win an award of this caliber. One day he might be getting the MVP of the league or Offensive Player of the Year or something like that. And just see a bright future with him and what he did and how he elevated guys like Nico Collins. See, if you look at a thing like what he did and how he took players that weren't great, like Nico Collins wasn't that great. He was averaging like 400 yards a year. He comes in and basically gets almost 3 times that amount with C.J. Stroud in the game, right? Over 1,200 yards this season. So he really had a great year. Put the Texans on his back. The Texans have a legitimate shot to now build their team like the Giants did in 2005, where they can bring in free agents, really solidify what they're missing, and have another draft where they can still build some depth there in case guys go down. You're headed in the right direction, Texans. Starts with your guy. You've got your leader. You've got your quarterback. Enjoy. Congratulations, CJ Stroud.
Well said, Adam. Mac, what's your thoughts on CJ Stroud?
My thoughts on C.J. Stroud is, young man is absolutely tremendous. I'm not going to sit here and say bad things about C.J. Stroud. What I will say about the system is not what it needs to be. It's not as accurate as it needs to be, though. However, I mean, Puka Nakua, by any definition, was Rookie of the Year as well. I mean, maybe you put a co on that and make these young men co-rookies of the year, because what they both did was absolutely just transcendent this season. These young men, I mean, Puka Nakua. Let's go back in time a season ago. Who won this award a season ago? Young man over on the New York Jets, another phenomenal young receiver in this league, Garrett Wilson. Is that what it is? Garrett Wilson wins Rookie of the Year.
The Jets got two
players. I'm not really arguing with him winning that award. I'm not arguing with him winning that award a year ago. However, his season didn't even remotely compare to Puka Nakua's this season. Not even close. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate for a young man that like a Puka Nakua to come out,
CJ Stroud
pick, have this put together the season he had, and unfortunately for him, you had CJ Stroud coming out number 2 overall pick in the draft, quarterback that just did tremendous things as well. at the quarterback position, leading his team into the postseason. But Puka Nacua had a lot to do with the Rams as well, making that postseason. Because let's go back in time to the beginning of this year, before the season started. I know I did, and I think a lot of other people were kind of on the same page as me, thinking the Rams weren't going to be a very good football team. They didn't think the Rams were going to do the things that they did this season. I mean, that's just facts.
They had
Puka
no draft
Nacua
picks.
had a big impact on what they did. They come out the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, no Cooper Cup. No problem. We got this kid, 5th-round draft pick from Brigham Young, baby, Puka Nacua, out of nowhere. Just lights the league up. Cooper Cup rejoins the team. You think Puka Nacua's production is going to take a step back because Cooper Cup's back out there? Hell no, it absolutely did not. Puka Nacua played at an all-pro level the entire season. And I gotta keep talking to this kid. I'm not gonna say anything bad about CJ Stroud, because I'm not gonna say he didn't deserve this award. I'm just saying Puka Nacua deserved it as well. And maybe they should have put a co-rookie of the year on that one this year, because you can't look at what this young man did and act like he didn't deserve some kind of honor or accolades for that. I mean, it was absolutely tremendous, and he was a leader of his football team as well for the Rams. So I'm all good. CJ Stroud, rookie of the year, he deserved it, he earned it. But I just wish they could have done something to include Puka Nacua in this, because he had a very, very special season, a year to remember. One of the top rookie seasons of all time, as a matter of fact. I mean, breaking records all over the place. So
I think if Stroud didn't get to the playoffs,
it's a tough draw for the kid, unfortunately.
If Stroud doesn't get to the playoffs or struggles a little bit, he probably wins it hands down, Puka. But like you said, it's a popularity contest. And I agree with you. I think Puka Nacua should probably be up there. As a matter of fact, I picked him to be Rookie of the Year. And, I knew they were going to go with CJ Stroud because, again, whether people like it or not, this is a quarterback-driven league. And when a quarterback can take center stage, they're going to put that guy there, because the NFL thrives on quarterback matchups. That's what they love. They want you to tune in to Mahomes, Allen, Brady, Manning, Elway, Marino, you know what I mean, Montana and Elway, Montana, Marino. That's what they like. That's the marquee. That's what they sells. That's what sells for them. So they're going to put that guy out in the forefront. It's going to sell jerseys. Not that Puka Nacua doesn't, and not that Puka Nacua didn't deserve it. Like I said, if CJ Stroud didn't have his season, he's the guy. He's definitely the guy, because if Garrett Wilson could win and he didn't have as good of a season as Puka Nacua, then Puka Nacua definitely deserves it. But the NFL, they know what they're doing, and their marketability, and who they get out in front, who are marquees all over the games that you play and you watch, right? When they show you hot streaks and everything like that, it's the quarterback. So, that's why he won it. They probably needed a guy like this to win it, just because it just, again, proves to them their product right, as in you need a franchise guy. Anyways, sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I love the discussion, taking the time on discussion about it, and that's what this take is for. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with both of you guys. Obviously, I'm gonna take a different approach. I'll just say real fast that both players, which we all know are going to be successful. We have CJ Stroud that is going to probably land a upwards of $300 million deal eventually. He already was NILs with C4, you know what I'm saying, in college. He's going to be taken care of. And with what Justin Jefferson is asking to break the bank, he wants over 35 or something ridiculous, over 30 million for sure. If the Vikings give Justin Jefferson the money, Puka Nacua, if he continues doing what he's doing, he is going to be getting paid, and you only can win this once. So totally understand the discussion for it. Is not you only a rookie once, but there is a lot of other special awards that he can come down the road. But Adam laid it down perfectly, which we all know, quarterbacks, which we are going to talk about later on in our Super Bowl segment on the NFL, and what they like and what they don't like. But that being said,
should you get an award for being like a leader at something? So let's say he led the NFL in receiving, right? Should that be honored at the award show? Because
I believe he gets like league awards, like some trophies, but it's not like major, like mainstream awards. But he does get like little small, like individual, like trophies that the league gives out and that other organizations, maybe like Sports Illustrated, receiver of the year and stuff like that. He obviously gets recognized. Maybe he might get some sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So your name does get out there, and that's what I believe. But when it comes down to the award that really matters is this one, and there's only one offensive rookie of the year, and I just think I don't say I agree with it. I don't agree with it, but maybe it becomes a dishonor if they do split the award. There's no participation trophies. Either you win it or you don't. That's just the way I look at it. But definitely, Puka Nacua should have won one. But he did it. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let's start with Adam Will Anderson Jr.
Well, interesting. Third overall pick wins the award. The Texans, I told you, they took home some hardware this week, and for them, first off, I don't know. This could be a trivia fact. This is the first set of teammates going back to back in both offensive and defensive rookie of the year. I don't know if that's happened.
This is
the first time ever, or is it?
It probably is.
It has to
be. Well. That's so. Listen, folks, I just created a trivia question right there because you may not see that again, where you have both the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year. Could have went to Jalen Carter. He had a solid season as well. I actually thought it might have went to him, but Will Anderson, he put on a show. He had a pressure rate. He was a very good disruptor towards the end of the season. At the beginning, he had 7 sacks. So, that's a good start to his year. The expectation for a rookie, you may not want, out the gate, 10 sacks or nothing. Like Thibodeau got 4, Hutchinson got 9 when his first rookie year. So, and Trayvon Walker got like 4. So, you saw the maturation of what he could be. And the Texans in their short history have had some decent defensive players play for them. And this is going to be another one of those decent defensive players that's going to play for this Texans organization.
Yeah. Once again, this was an award out of when we looked at all these awards, this was probably one of the harder ones to pick because there wasn't necessarily a true dominant standout performer in this category, to be honest. This is a testament of it's not always how you start, but it's how you finish. And there's 18 weeks to this in the season, and Will Anderson, as the season continued, his production continued to increase. It continued to go up. And he just got better down the stretch, whereas a Jalen Carter, who started off kind of as a favorite for this award, kind of tended to he kind of tapered off, as the season went on a little bit. And that's pretty much probably what's his downfall, his undoing, and not winning this award. Will Anderson had a good like you said, a good start to his career. I think this guy's going to be a tremendous talent going forward. I think he is going to become an upper echelon premier pass rusher in this league and just disruptor. And I think I can see great things in this young man's future on what looks like it's going to be a really good Houston Texans team going forward. Man, they got their franchise quarterback. They got a guy on defense that they can build things around, and they got a good young head coach, man. That good solid foundation for an NFL football team. So look forward to seeing Houston Texans got going on in the future going forward. They're going to be a fun team to watch for the next couple of years.
What's up, Awesomeness Sports?
Cornerstone players.
Absolutely, and I want to touch on this. I want to touch on back-to-back years where the Jets, was looked at as a laughing stock. You know what I'm saying? And nobody even really wanted to go play for the Jets in free agency. And then what did they do? They turned their things around. They drafted a couple of players. They were aggressive. They were aggressive in the draft, and they flipped it around. And then they occurred someone from Green Bay, to come play for them. You know what I'm saying? Which is really awesome.
Yeah, so they had the rookies of the years.
Yeah, they did. And then if you look what the Texans did, they said, you know what? We have to give up some reins, bring in a new thing, tear it down, and be aggressive.
Called a rebuild.
Exactly what they do. It's called the rebuild. We'll touch on the draft and being aggressive in it. Maybe we do, maybe we doesn't, but that's the show. That's time for another show. Shout out to Anderson for winning, Defensive Player of the Year. Let's get it to Coach of the Year. This kind of shocked me, but totally understand it. should be award for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, most touchdowns. I think so too. I think there
Kevin's the
should be a lot of fun awards. That should be recognizable too for when we have that discussion about Puka and not winning it. Maybe there should be an award just as significant, as some of these awards. Obviously, there's only one MVP, but when it comes down to all these other awards, maybe there should be. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? Of bringing in an award for like the most touchdowns in the NFL?
So that's basically what I just mentioned was
Mm-hmm.
like the touchdowns leader, receptions leader. Are they going to honor them? What they might do is show them, hey, these guys won this award. They're all going to get they'll get something in the mail. I don't know what you need to do, but I feel like we honor the big stuff, but if they have other categories in award shows, as in who has the best soundtrack to a movie or who has the best producer or who has the best beat. It's not just one
I think,
specific.
yeah, I think so too, Adam. Not to cut you off, I
I
think
think
obviously there's one main list, like a couple main list to mainstream outlets that there's these award shows. But when you look at these players when they're doing interviews, or maybe you watch like a behind the scenes or something about their lives, there's a lot of other awards that they probably may get from other sources, like your PFF or your Sports Illustrated, your Nickelodeons or other entities, your Nikes of the world that does give individual awards throughout the off season, throughout all these charity events that they do as well. And I think Mac has something to say as well. Go right ahead, Mac.
no, I was gonna say I was glad you brought this up, Wells. Thanks for bringing this up because I was actually having a conversation with a coworker about this very thing about a week ago, and yeah, I think NFL should absolutely acknowledge the positions. You got your MVPs pretty much is an award that's gonna almost most likely go to a quarterback anyway. And you got your offensive player of the year like Christian McCaffrey won, and that's all well and good. You keep those awards, but then you should also go and look a little deeper, like they do in NCAA in college. You go down, you get who's the best quarterback, who's the best wide receiver, the best running back, and those awards, those things should be acknowledged as well, like as
Yeah, as the
individual
Bolitnikoff
positions.
Award,
Who
right,
was
for
your
the
best?
receiver.
Who was your best there? Who was your
Yep.
best defensive lineman? Who was the best interior lineman? Who was the best offensive lineman? Those guys never get love, in these award shows. You know what I mean? So they they uh they need to really maybe look into maybe doing some things like that, be a little more interesting, a little more fun, and also get some of these other guys, some of the other great players around the league, get them a little
Some
bit
FaceTime.
more, a little bit more acknowledgement. Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
you hear
Because
that,
there's a
NFL?
lot
We're
of
giving
great
you more
players, and these
marketing.
awards can only go to a limited amount of people.
We're giving the NFL more marketing, free
Absolutely.
ideas off of this show. They're going to be like, hey, we got this idea from Premium Takes. We're not going to give you any money, but great idea by Mac the Giant Fan and Zion Zenith to do that. Because the thing is this, right? If you're the league leader in passing, all you get is like an asterisk that you're the league leader in passing. Why can't I see that guy on stage as well? He deserves that because he led the league in passing, right? You don't need to go every individual award. You don't need to go like he led the league in touchdowns and like this. But if you like saying the passing category, QBs or whatever, because I know you can get into the minutia of it all, right? But I'm talking about the bigger awards, not like touchdowns and all that stuff. That can be given out to you at the NFL, but the passing leader, like the top 5 passers in the league, whatever it is, you give an award for, let's say it was Tua Tagovailoa, right? He gets an award for being the passing leader. Jonathan Taylor, running back, gets the rushing leader. You get to see those guys up front get an award saying, hey, you led the league in rushing. Hey, you led the league in passing. Great job. You know what I mean? At least I think that's what should happen.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Good talk, guys. Good discussion. That being said, let's move on. Kevin Shavinsky, leader of the Browns, coach. Juan, what's your guys' thoughts on that?
D'Amico Ryans got robbed is what I think
Yeah,
happened here.
absolutely.
D'Amico Ryans took a team that was basically a doormat and made them a playoff team and got to the divisional round of the playoffs. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski, who has talent out the ass, and only because of his quarterback situation being repulsive the year before, they still had that major defense, right? They lost games because Deshaun Watson or whoever wasn't playing quarterback for them. This year, granted, they did a great job on defense, but if I look at the two entities, I expected the Browns to be good. I didn't expect the Texans to be good. And so to me, when you do that, I mean, he had basically a run like Brian Dable, but almost even better because they were putting up points, playing defense, and went to the divisional round, and obviously, didn't make it. But they were playing the Baltimore Ravens, the best team of football at that point. But you can't take anything away from what he did and how he's turned that program around and made it into the winner that it is right now. So I thought he got robbed. Stefanski's been there before. I don't think he's did anything earth-shattering to me. The Browns I expected to be somewhat in the playoff hunts. But did you think the Texans were? I did not. So.
Well said, well said. Mac, what's your thoughts on Kevin?
I mean, I do agree a little bit there with Adam. You said, and but at the same time, Kevin Stefanski did have some legitimate obstacles to overcome. I mean, when the Deshaun Watson thing was starting to, his injuries issue was becoming a problem. That team had a couple of rough weeks in Cleveland when they didn't really have a quarterback in place that could get the job done. I mean, and somehow you bring in old man Joe Flacco, and it kind of gets things going again offensively enough to hold it down. I mean, DeMeco Ryans, in my opinion, should have been coach of the year. So that is how I feel about it. I do agree with what you said, Adam. You just took a team like Houston that went from having the number 2 overall pick in the draft to a division title, a playoff win in the wild card round, and then making it going on to the divisional round with the rookie of the year at quarterback, with the rookie defensive player of the year on defense. I mean, I think DeMeco Ryans should have definitely won this award. I mean, but at the end of the day, I can't be totally upset with Kevin Stefanski because he definitely was right there behind. In my opinion, he was the one that I had coming up right behind DeMeco Ryans, just being able to hold things together. A lot of coaches, given the situation that he dealt with at the most important position on your team this past season, could have really collapsed, man, and could have let the wheels fall off. But he was able to really hold things together. And granted, he got Myles Garrett, a Myles Garrett led defense on the other side of the football to really help you out there. But at the end of the day, the quarterback position is definitely very important, as we all continue to discuss, as we've already mentioned on this show. And things could have really fell apart for this Cleveland Browns football team, and the fact that he was able to keep them together and take them into the postseason. Now, it didn't go well for him in the postseason, obviously, but the fact that he was able to still keep this team together, like I said, and lead them into the postseason, and they didn't win their division, but they had a really tremendous year, and I think DeMeco Ryans should have won it. Kevin Stefanski winning it doesn't completely surprise me either. I think he really did some tremendous things as well, holding that team together. So, I mean, it is what it is. DeMeco Ryans, maybe try again next year, bro.
Absolutely, it is what it is. Shout out to Cleveland Browns for winning it. I wouldn't agree with it. I would have gave it to DeMeco, but it is what it is, and it just sucks. It just sucks because DeMeco, if I'm him, I'm pretty mad. I'm pretty mad about this one, guys. Like, this one is what I'm mad at. If you look at Baker's face, Baker's pretty mad at it. It's like, understand he came off the couch. He's ready to perform. I'm gonna give my take on it, and then let you guys take on it. But at the end of the day, like, for Joe to win it, I understand it. You guys already gave it to Myles Garrett and Kevin. You guys can't help the Tampa Bay out a little bit. Nope. You got to go give it to old man Joe. Understandable. So my question is, though, it's like, don't we preach about, like, taking care of the football? And, like, this man comes in, and yes, he goes crazy, but at the end of the day, in every game, he has a turnover, at least one. You know what I'm saying? And it's his defense that really put Cleveland to where they needed to be. So when you look at Baker Mayfield, a lot of people may say, like, oh yeah, but he has all these special weapons and he has a lot of turnovers too. But a lot of the games as well, we wasn't expecting Baker Mayfield to read the defense as good as he read the defense, and for him to do what he did in Tampa was absolutely amazing. I understand why they would give it to Joe, but I just kind of butthurt over this one. I really wanted Baker to get his, even though I really wasn't even a Baker's fan before the season, but he he definitely made me a fan this season. Shout out to Baker. But what's your guys' thoughts on Old Man Joe winning this award? Comeback Player of the Year.
Wasn't Matthew Stafford in that category?
Matthew Stafford was also in this
I
category.
think that guy should have won the award because if you're talking about comeback player, he was actually injured, right? He was injured this previous season, and so to come back this year, and he was injured this year as well, and come back this year and have the season that he had and lead his team to the playoffs with the limited team that he had, I'll give that comeback player. Now, did Baker Mayfield have a good year? Yeah, yes. I don't want to take anything away from Baker Mayfield. He definitely should get his money and get paid. However, he was a starter that got benched. He wasn't injured. When I think of comeback players, I think of a guy like Breece Hall, who could have been comeback player of the year. He injured his knee, and he comes out and has a good season. You know what I mean? That's a comeback player of the year to me because he didn't play the previous year. He's coming back off an injury. That's a comeback. You know, I guess you can call coming off the couch like Joe Flacco a comeback too, since he's retired. But to me, he was sitting on his couch, and I don't think he played as well as Matthew Stafford did down the stretch. But if we're not talking about an injury, taking an injury aside, if I were taken away and add just comeback player, it had to be Baker Mayfield and what he's done in Tampa Bay. But for me, if it's coming off injury, which is what I think it is, it should go to Matthew Stafford.
Well said, well said. Matt, what's your thoughts on comeback player of the year? Old Man Joe.
Well, look, I don't know how they measure these awards, if it's truly just like regular season production, include a little bit of whatever you can see from them in the postseason. But if that's the case, I just believe that Baker Mayfield should have won this award. I really do. I understand why the young man was upset. I mean, he's had a rough career by no stretch of the, I mean, he's had a rough career, point blank and period. I think this season was pretty much his last opportunity to prove that he was worthy of being a starting quarterback in the NFL, or maybe even being in the NFL. And I think he went out there and proved that he does belong here in this league, leading a team. He led his team to a division title. Led his team to a playoff win against the defending NFC champions.
And played a solid game against the Lions.
Let me remind you of that, against the defending. And he absolutely did. And so I think Baker Mayfield should have won this award. Joe Flacco really went out. I mean, he came off the couch and he really did some good things for Cleveland, keeping them afloat. They got him, into the playoffs, but he went out there and laid an absolute egg in the postseason game against Houston, man, and he looked like the old Joe Flacco we all remembered. So I just think if you even think of if you look at that, and that I just think that probably should have knocked him down a peg. But you know what? They gave it to Joe Flacco. It is once again, it is what it is. I want to talk about somebody else that was nominated for this award that did not win it, and I understand why he didn't win it. He wasn't really activated for most of the games this season, but his story is something that we'll never ever forget, man. And that is the young man Damar Hamlin. I think what the NFL should do, especially in particular with this award, is rename this award the Damar Hamlin Comeback Player of the Year award. I think they should really reconsider renaming this award, because this young man came back from death.
From death, yes.
And yes, he didn't play much.
This man died
this season for the Buffalo Bills, but he was part of that team. He was out there practicing out there with his guys all season long, and even that in itself is a true testament to his fortitude, man. And I want to, an NFL should maybe consider doing something like that and honoring this young man, until the end of time, man. With that, just by naming the award on his behalf. So just some little food for thought, league. If you're everybody out there listening, take that one from MacDaGiantsFan, man. Consider renaming this award the Damar Hamlin Comeback Player of the Year award.
Make sure you timestamp it so this is being recorded, so we know people. We can't take it from us. Take it from Mac. It's being recorded.
Absolutely. let's talk about
What's up,
both the
Chad?
region's man of the year. What's up, chat? What's up, chat? With Cameron Hayward winning it. What's your guys' thoughts on him winning it? We don't have to get too deep in it, but the man of the year,
Well
absolutely a
deserved.
fantastic trophy. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well deserved. You need these awards. These awards are what keep the league sane. And guys deserve to be awarded for the charities that they do, because there are some good guys in the NFL. The police blotter doesn't always have to be how the NFL story is documented on the off season, right? And to give Ironhead Hayward, I know his dad played fullback or fullback / running back, loved those commercials. Hey Ironhead, what's with this thingy? Loved all those commercials that he made. And now his son is honored. He might go to the Hall of Fame. He's won a couple of Super Bowls. He's been I don't know if he won Super Bowls, but he's been a good player his entire career, and well deserved for a guy who's done a lot for this league, and hopefully we'll probably have a busting Canton at some point.
Love it, love it. Mac, what's your thoughts on Cam Hayward winning this award?
I mean, I think Cam Hayward he's a great individual. I mean, I don't know much about his charitable donations and whatnot. Obviously, I don't follow him that closely, but I know he's a tremendous talent in this league. This award is not an award about playing the field in any means. It's definitely about all your off the field things. And of course, as a New York Giants fan, I would like to see Saquon Barkley had won this award. He was the Giants nominee for this award. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to be mad because Cameron Hayward won this award. I mean, I'm sure that young man goes out there and is very, very charitable and does a lot of good things for his community, man. And congratulations. That's all I can really say about that one.
You're muted. You're muted.
I just muted myself. My bad. Thank you, guys. So yes, guys, this is the Super Bowl special. We're probably gonna get in the Super Bowl talks here in about, I would say, another 10 minutes. But we have the class of 2024 that we want to touch on. I'm gonna ask the boys to select one player. We're gonna have it on screen for you guys to see all of them right now. I'm gonna have you guys select one player. And obviously, if you guys want to talk about two players, you guys can go right ahead. I'm gonna start with Adam. I think he wanted to talk about one player before the show started. He was really excited to see him on the list. So let's give the show over to Adam and have him say his piece.
Well, I have two guys. First off, Andre Johnson's the guy I want to touch on first. I mean, people don't think this guy's a Hall of Famer. Go back and watch his film. Dude was an absolute stud at the wide receiver position. One of the best that wasn't talked about because he played for a young, up-and-coming Texans team. Remember, the Texans came out in 2002. He came a few years after that. It was an absolute beast when they got him there. Out of Miami, go look up his numbers. You can put him there with anybody. He's one of the best players I've seen, one of the quietest receivers you'll ever talk about. And let's not forget, he also beat up Cortland Finnegan for the Tennessee Titans back in the day. So that alone puts you in the Hall of Fame. There's a couple other guys I'd like to talk about here. I'll leave the 49er for Mac, but the one guy I want to talk about is Dwight Freeney. Dude deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. His spin move was absolutely tremendous. He put guys in a blender. He was a short, stout, stocky little guy, 6'2", about 260, but he got a lot of leverage on you. And him and Robert Mathis, his partner in crime, Robert Mathis, should also be on the ballot at some point, because without Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney's not Dwight Freeney. Without Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis is not Robert Mathis. So good to see him getting in the Hall. Mac, you got anything else? Any other people? Oh, the one guy I did want to talk about, I'm sorry, was Devin Hester. That's the guy I wanted to talk about. Why? Because we'd never had a return man go to the NFL. The guy's been one of the best in the NFL, most dynamic return man I've seen in my lifetime. The only other guy that I could even compare him to was maybe Dion. I mean, I liked Eric Metcalf, but Devin Hester was an absolute game changer. The other guy who was kind of good but doesn't have the numbers was Dante Hall. So good. I think he deserves to get in it, Mac. I don't know if you feel the same about Devin Hester, but those are I'll stop talking. But those are the couple guys I wanted to touch on.
Well said, Matt.
Absolutely.
Well said, Adam.
Since we were just talking about just talking about Devin Hester, I'll just go ahead and continue to piggyback off of that for the moment because I absolutely want to talk about Devin Hester. Because when you are the best at what you do, and there's not even really a true debate about it, you should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm absolutely glad the committee put this young man where he belongs to be immortalized with the NFL greats. Because over the span of Devin Hester's career, there was not a return man that was even remotely on this man's level. Not even remotely on his level. Did this man open up a Super Bowl with a kickoff return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl? I believe he did. I believe he absolutely did. Devin Hester was so electric. Punt returns, kick returns, and even the occasional play come in and get an occasional play at wide receiver and dump him electric. I mean, this dude was just an electric player on the field with the ball in his hands. Sure, he was drafted in the NFL as a D-back, but that clearly was not his path. That was not his calling in the NFL. And
19 return touchdowns. I just want to put that out there. 19 return touchdowns between kickoff and punt return.
So
19.
Anybody questioning Devin Hester's credentials to be in the NFL Hall of Fame, I got 2 words for you. Suck it, baby. Devin Hester's right where he belongs amongst the greats of the NFL.
If you
I'm
put all
old school here, man.
If you put all his numbers together real quick, he has over like 13,000 yards combined in his career, right? He has 3,000 rushing punt return. He has like 7,000. Let me get it correct for you guys here because I have it up on the screen. Let's not F around, right? So in punts, he has 14 punt return touchdowns, which is insane, and he has 3,000 yards returning on punt returns, but he has 5 kickoff returns and he has 7,000 yards in kickoff return yardage. By the way, he had 2 seasons of 1,000 yards of kickoff return yardage, which no one, I guess, even talks about. We never really talk about that as a stat, but they do keep it as a stat. That's insane to think about. Not to mention, and that's right now over 11,000 yards. Then you add in over 3,000 yards receiving, and we're at almost like 14,000 yards total for his career as a player. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Absolutely
I'm
love it.
Old school, man. I'm gonna go a little old school real quick. A little old school with this one, man. And I got to take it back to my childhood days here. Look, you got a couple senior members making the Hall of Fame this year. It's finally long overdue, in my opinion. I know Zion, you obviously did not get to see this man play football. I'm probably pretty sure Adam, you didn't see much of Steve Mongo McMichael on the field as well either. I myself can say that I got to see this man play while he was actually out there still playing for the Chicago Bears in the 80s. This man was an absolute beast, man. He played on a ferocious Chicago Bears defense. He was definitely in the trenches, and this is back in the day where it got dirty in the trenches. It got dirty in the trenches. And I mean, Steve Mongo McMichael, man, it was definitely a beast. It's a shame that players like of his caliber sometimes get kind of tossed to the wayside and end up having to wait this long. But I'm glad to see that he will get his opportunity to go out to Canton and have that speech and be immortalized with the all-time greats at this league, man, because he definitely was also an all-time great. And Steve McMichael, man, long overdue. But all these guys, man, I mean, all these guys are definitely deserving. Patrick Willis, we can go on and on about Patrick Willis, man, on and on. Julius Peppers, like you said, Dwight Freeney, these guys are all well deserved, man. So
all of them were.
That's all I got, man. Great Hall of Fame class right here. Great Hall of Fame class.
And you know what it is? Now I feel old because these guys were my era of guys growing up, right? Dwight Freeney came in the mid 2000s. You know, Devin Hester, the same thing. So did Andre Johnson, Julius Peppers, and Patrick Willis all came in from that 2000 to mid 2000 range for me when I was a youngin watching football.
And you was a young buck.
And now I'm an olden because I'm about to hit the big 4-0 in the next few weeks. And it's just to watch some of these guys go in, like Andre Johnson, I knew Julius Peppers going to the Hall of Fame. Patrick Willis, I always thought was a Hall of Fame talent. Didn't know if he was going to get in because of his career being short. And Dwight Freeney, I knew that guy was going. And Hester, I always thought was going because I was always talking because there's other guys that deserve to be there, right? Eric Metcalf deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He was a good return man. Brian Mitchell deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He was a good return man. He was one of the best that we've ever seen as well. The most dynamic one was Devin Hester, and then another one was Dante Hall, but Hall won't have the numbers to get in. But Brian Mitchell should be there. Brian Mitchell absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. So hopefully Devin Hester can open up that ballot, and maybe down the road Brian Mitchell can make it in as alumni or an older one of the the senior members of the Hall of Fame.
Well said, fam. I just want to take this time to just say, a lot of these players, I didn't really get the time to watch them play the entire
Why?
Their careers.
Google.
And do know them by name, but not really, I don't want to talk out of my ass. I would say this. I do know Devin Hester. I did watch him play a lot. I do know Andre Johnson, Patrick Williams.
When were you born?
1993.
So you should have seen Devin Hester. I mean,
oh yeah, who I was going to talk about. Devin Hester, your boy said it perfectly. Watched him play. Watched him put the return position on the map. You know what I'm saying? When you look at special teams, a lot of people don't want to play that position. And when you have a guy out there like Devin Hester, the ability to take it to the house and make it exciting, make that part of the game exciting. That's why you look at the NFL and why they're not trying to take it out of the game completely. Trying to make it safe, but not trying to take it out of the game completely. So shout out to Devin Hester. Definitely so. Adam brought it up perfectly. You don't really see this a guy of that nature in a sense of playing that position. He wasn't really like his position was on special teams. He was a specialist. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. And then obviously growing up and watching players like Megatron and tight ends like Tony Gonzalez at the later ends of their career. Megatron throughout his career, Tony Gonzalez by the end of it when he went to Atlanta. Seeing players like Toomer on the Giants, and seeing Andre Johnson, he played around that same time. The Texans as a younger organization, you can't count good players that played on their team. Before the 2010s, it's like you got like 5 players maybe that's household names, if that. And Andre Johnson was one of those players, and he absolutely was the best receiver they have. That a lot of people would debate, oh, maybe it's they had Hopkins. Well, DeAndre Johnson, if you never watched him play, go like Adam.
He's better than Hopkins.
Yeah, he's better than Hopkins. Go put on some film. Absolutely a stud. But yeah, guys, so shout out to them. Shout out to them for making all of them for making the class of 2024. And anything else before we move along? And it's about an hour in, perfect timing. We'll start having some Super Bowl discussions. So any other thing you guys want to mention before we move on to our next subject?
I just want to quickly put a bow on the Hester thing. I think Hester needs to be is the I guess how you say the seal breaker for positional players like this or positionless players like this who had one niche roles, because guys like Cordell Patterson, he might end up with 8,000 return yards and 2,000 receiving yards, and total yardage should matter. You keep stats for yardage, that matters. Like a guy like Tiki Barber has 15,000 yards total, 10,000 yards rushing, a couple thousand yards returning and receiving. He should easily be in the Hall of Fame just on sheer yardage and numbers alone. So I'm hoping that this will broaden that scope in the NFL, because a lot of great players are return players. Percy Harvin was a great return man, and I don't want to. It is still a position. I feel like if any position's on the field, except if you're playing it, like punter, kicker, whatever, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. What's the point of having those positions if you're not and having a Hall of Fame if you're not going to honor every position that's ever been played? So,
well said. Well, guys, it is that time of the evening where we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We got it right here in the background. We got the Chiefs and we got the 49ers, but we're going to do this a little bit different, guys. we're gonna just tease you guys a bit. We're not gonna go straight right into the main event of saying who's gonna win or give up predictions and who we're gonna think is MVP. We're gonna just play a little bit of side games. I'm gonna pass the duties over to Adam here in a bit, but before I do that, I'm gonna host the first two topics. The first topic, we're gonna talk about is just the outrageous prices of these damn tickets. Okay, now it started at $8,000 for nosebleeds, but now it's all the way up to $6,000.
You're going to
Down.
Vegas,
I'm
bro.
sorry, down. It's down. It's dropping. But you can obviously see that the average blue collar worker, unless you want tickets, is just basically priced out of the game. This is just taking me back for the olden days when it was just the elites, the elites and them celebrating at the end. This is just getting ridiculous. The reason why they're doing this is because people would buy tickets for $1,000 and then resell it for $6,000 for $8,000. So Roger Goodell and the NFL committee, whoever's in charge in that department, was basically saying, okay, you guys want to buy tickets for $1,000 and resell it? Okay, guess what? Everybody's gonna suffer now, and these tickets are gonna be starting at $8,000. It's dropping as the game gets closer because obviously this is fucking crazy. But that being said, I'm gonna let whoever wants to start it out first. Started out $7,000 for nosebleeds. Let's not even talk about getting closer to the field.
I'll start the bidding at $2,000. No, I'm just kidding.
There is the most expensive. The most expensive suite price is $2.5 million to enjoy this game. But go ahead.
I'm glad I have that in my back pocket. That's why I'm here. But no, I don't really care. Because to me, it's in Las Vegas. The Super Bowl is outrageous. It's probably an okay idea to try it like this, but they're going to be like a hotel. And what a hotel does is the night of the hotel is you get your best rate the day of that you're staying at vacancy, because an empty room to them is empty business, empty money, right? Empty seat to them is empty money. So what's probably going to happen is you're going to see those tickets drop as the game gets closer and closer and closer. They're going to want to sell out. There's not going to be not a Super Bowl sellout. That would be absolutely insane. I guarantee those tickets will drop. They're just holding as long as possible. But I really don't give a damn because I don't have money to get there. So I'll be watching it on TV in the comfort of my own home, in my living room, having a nice couple snacks and beverages to go with it.
Well said. What about you, Mac?
Look, man, it's a Super Bowl. It's not a regular season game. It's not even a regular playoff game. It is the Super Bowl. It is the coup de grace. I mean, this is an experience. This is something you plan for. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, let's go to that game they're having over there at Legion Field over there. That game
let's get some passes.
World title. No,
go to the zoo.
You plan probably a couple of years in advance and say, I'm going to go to this Super Bowl and I'm going to save my money and I'm going to get a ticket and I'm going to go. This is an experience.
So you're not getting up and having your coffee and going to the stadium, just taking a stroll on by. I think I'm just going to go to the stadium.
It
for
just
a couple
is what
hours.
it is. You understand what's going on. You understand what it takes to be able to attend this game. It's just. It is like if you want to do it, you got to be willing to put that big money out there, man. From what I understand, players don't even get free tickets, so they got to spend their money on their ticket on tickets as well, like to bring their families and get their families into stadiums and stuff like that. So this is expensive for everybody. It costs everybody to go to attend the Super Bowl. Everybody, nobody's off the hook, man. Also when it comes down to the big businesses, the big sponsors and whatnot, they pretty much buy out all the majority of the seats for the most part, and you kind of just somebody that knows somebody, you're in there, it ain't like like you said, this ain't necessarily something that the regular blue collar hardworking man is going to be able to get up and afford to do, but at the end of the day, people gonna spend that money, man, and it's nothing's gonna change. It's only gonna get more and more expensive. So it just is what it is. And the fact that it's like Adam said, it's in Vegas this year, that's definitely ain't helping the cause either. So
that ain't helping.
Oh my God! Let me tell you, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. There's going to be a lot of stories like that come Super Bowl Sunday, because listen. Everybody knows what happens in the Super Bowl, what it brings. It brings the town a lot of money. It brings the town a lot of revenue, and there's a lot of dirty deeds that are going on in the Super Bowl. And that's just part of it. So, and now you're putting in the city of sin. Give me a break. I mean,
well said, both of you. What's up, Chris? And thank you for joining us this evening.
What's going on, Chris?
Before we get to Adam's trivia
Chris?
and playing a little trivia and maybe Adam will probably talk about what maybe some of our favorite dishes are, or we're doing the big game day at our houses. If you guys have any parties or anything,
You're not invited. No, I'm just
that
kidding.
being said, the next topic is going to be Super Bowl ads. Is there any ads or trailers or anything that you guys are excited to see at this particular game? Usually in other events, you just walk up and use the bathroom. Or maybe if people smoke, they get a smoke break or mingle or whatever you guys do. But some people, they love staying and watching the ads. So that being said, is there any special commercial that you guys are planning to see? Or is there any special commercial in previous years that you guys think nailed it out of the park?
Well, first off, I'm definitely going to be going to the bathroom at halftime because there's not going to be a
Usher. You're not excited to see Usher?
I rather watch Rihanna and those groups. I'm not really. I don't really care who's at the halftime show. It's 20 minutes of my life I could care less about. It's just going to be another trivia question down the road. But as far as ads, I'm hoping that the TV and the Paramount Pluses and the streaming stations, because I'm watching on the streaming network, pack the breaks with fun commercials. Because being a person that's been in TV, I understand how it works, but sometimes you don't get the good campaigns till after. And usually when I was a kid, all the new stuff was coming out, all the new campaign launches, all this stuff was coming out because you wanted to have all the eyeballs on the Super Bowl. And guess what? I think they're doing it again. I think you're going to see a lot of ads. I don't have any in particular per se because they're all being hidden, which is what you want to see. Some are being teased right now, but I can't tell you a specific ad. I'm just looking forward to some new ones. I know that I think there's a Geico one coming out that I'm looking forward to with Caveman and stuff. So we'll see how that works out. And anything. Let's make me laugh, people. That's what I want to see. Make me laugh. Wow, the Budweiser commercials coming back. The Clydesdales, they ruined it with Bud Light for me though. So,
what's that? Go ahead, Mac.
Well. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to them because Super Bowl commercials are not what they used to be. Once again, I grew up in a great era where Super Bowl commercials used to be the shit. You used to you used to just get excited for the damn commercials. Sometimes even more so than the games. A lot of times back in the day, that's how dope the commercials used to be. They're not on that level anymore. But that's neither here nor there.
Maybe they'll be this year.
You do get a few good ones You do get a few good ones here and there still, but it's just not the consistency that they used to be back in the day.
Advertising was lazy.
You do what you do usually get every year are some pretty super dope movie trailers that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yes,
what's going to be the new blockbusters coming out in summertime, in the fall, or whenever they're coming out releases. I look forward to that because you do usually get the dope movie trailers, some stuff that you don't.
Do we know any movies coming out?
Sure, was coming out or not know about. I don't know, and that's why I can't wait to see on Sunday some of the new trailers or whatever.
I might get up and go to pee during the game so I can watch the commercials. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Who cares about the game? I'm here for the commercials.
Absolutely love it.
I guarantee you, if you're having a Super Bowl party with multiple people there, I'm sure somebody will be there just for the commercials and hopefully your spread if it's good. I can't. You can go to people's houses. Sometimes the spread's not good, but you're there with the mingling with the people. So I'm sure you're gonna have one of those people that are there you're gonna have one of the halftime people who are like, ooh, Usher, I haven't seen him in years. And you're gonna have one of those people, a couple of those people who are gonna be like, I'm just here for the commercials. So
you're gonna have one of those people like, okay, so who plays, man?
Exactly, and that random person who wins the boxes who has nothing to do with football in their entire life, and they just pick two random boxes and they win. That's happened to me before. A friend of mine won. He wasn't even paying attention to the game. He was like, I guess, let's just say having adult beverages in the other room, not really caring about the game per se, playing some of those adult games with beverages. And they're like, dude, you won halftime. He's like, really? He doesn't even watch the game. So it'll be a lot of fun to see if you guys are doing any puzzles or any of those, what is those games? The box picking of the numbers.
Squares.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm with Mac here. You know, I'm just excited to see most of the movie trailers. I don't really know what really is coming out, you know, in the summertime or anything like that. But I know, you know, there should be some good movies coming out. I know the MCU has kind of died down and, and has been dead, but hopefully there's a revival here soon. But even at that, hopefully there's a lot of new movies, a lot of standalone movies. We don't always need a universe or always need a sequel. Hopefully we have a good standalone movie. But the only thing that I'm kind of excited to, hopefully they preview, even if they didn't, I wouldn't really care because it drops in about a week and a half. Is the only thing that I know that I'm excited about that's dropping soon is probably Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix series that is going to be live action. That is probably going to be amazing. That's probably going to do a final trailer at Super Bowl. Avatar: The Last Airbender absolutely is going to take the stage when it comes down to Netflix being
I
one
want
of
to see
the
the Beverly Hills
premium
Cop trailer. That's what I want to see.
one of the premium shows. In standing right next to on Netflix's Stranger Things. But that being said,
Don't tease me with that.
well, I don't know if there's a trailer for that. I'm just saying that Avatar is going to stand right next to that. It's going to be that good of a show. That being said,
I need my Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. Yeah, if you like Cobra Kai, you'll probably be a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, I will not. No, I will not.
I don't see how that even coincides with each other, brother. Because I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Cobra Kai.
Oh my God, Cobra Kai is legit.
Well, because of the
It doesn't stop. Don't even try to justify it.
I just don't have that same love for Avatar.
Well, before we go off the rails, because I don't want to go off the rails, Ghostbusters might be a good one.
That Ghostbusters is going to be dope.
Well, good thing that Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Stop talking about Avatar.
We're not talking about the blue people, guys. We are talking about The Last Airbender.
But the only blue people I know are the Smurfs.
Yeah, all the actors in Avatar: The Last Airbender had to really have some background in karate. So all the movements
great.
And all the techniques that, because in the anime, all the techniques in the anime was basically actual techniques, actual kung fu and whatever.
You know what?
Whatever techniques they use. So when it comes down to actors, there's a lot of martial artists that had to be martial artists to even apply for being roles as actors. And when you looked at the choreography, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it looks like early day Matrix. It doesn't look like this stupid Matrix 4. It looks like early day Matrix with the choreography and the kung fu or whatever techniques that they use actually being truthful and honest to the craft. And it really looks amazing to the motion.
I'll stick with my cheesy 80s remake of Cobra Kai.
Fair enough.
Cobra Kai. You can stick with the Airbenders. I've never been a part of the Avatar family. Let's move on from these crazy. And that is our pop culture segment of the Super Bowl.
And I will pass the hosting duties now over to Adam. Go right ahead.
Well, welcome to Adam's Trivia Hour. I don't sound excited because I am excited, but I am very excited to present to you the trivia that we waited for. I thought every year you got to have some questions. You know, we want to do a little 49er questions. We want to do general Super Bowl questions. So here we go. I'm going to throw some out there for you. Guys are willing to answer. I only asked one to the guys, and that was, I'll let it out right now. Where was the first Super Bowl played? Mac?
The Los Angeles Coliseum.
Los Angeles Coliseum, folks. I don't know if Mac's not old enough to see that one. I wasn't old enough to see that one. We were all not here on this earth when it started. But I will answer another one. I know that they know this answer, but let's give this one to the crowd. Who was the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl, folks? Who was the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl? Let's see if some of the people in the chat get this. We'll give you a few minutes or a few seconds. We don't really have minutes, but we have seconds.
Jeopardy music.
I don't want to be taken off YouTube, so I'm gonna
I don't think they'll take you off for a minute.
You never know these days. They'll cancel you for anything. Well, let's see if anyone's still out there. Bueller. Okay, well, we'll move on with the question. And the answer is the Raiders. The Raiders were the first wild card team.
The 1981 Raiders.
Apparently, the 1981 Raiders. Mac did not let me forget that. I was not born in 1981, but there you go.
Tampa Bay. Actually, good try, but it was the Raiders.
It was the Raiders, yes. So these questions
They
don't
beat the
even
Philadelphia Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm sorry.
You had to bring it up, huh? Oh, you had to rub it into those Eagle fans. It never goes away with you, Mac. It never goes away. Never goes away. Let's see about this. What current NFL teams have never made it to the Super Bowl? What
The Lions and the Browns.
The Lions and the Browns. There's a few more in there.
The Texans.
Yep.
The Panthers.
Nope.
With the Panthers. When did the Panthers? Oh, yeah, no,
Panthers have been the
sorry. The Panthers just be. Yeah, my bad. I delete what I said. I don't know.
Too late. It's on the internet. It's there forever.
The Jaguars.
There you go. Mac got the
Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's Jaguars, Browns, Lions, Texans.
I was thinking of that cat because I knew it was a younger team, but I meant with the other cat on accident. That's what I meant to say. The
Cat Schmat, you got it wrong. Let's move it right along.
I did.
On the next one. What is the most popular food eaten during Super Bowl Sunday?
What do people eat? Chips? Nachos?
Either pizza or wings. Food?
Well, Matt, you are correct. It is wings. Chicken wings are the most consumed. So if you are out there right now, you're probably late. The wings are probably sold out at your store. You're going to have to get them on the black market right now. They're probably sold out. Make sure you go get those Buffalo Wild Wings. That fast. BOGO deal. Here's a good one. Here's something that. How much does the Vince Lombardi trophy weigh?
16.9 ounces. Pounds.
That is a heavy ass trophy. No. Any other guesses?
13 pounds.
13 pounds. Why are you guessing double digits? What is wrong?
I didn't say pounds.
say 8 pounds, man.
Wow, Mac is on. See, this is why you need to listen to Mac. Okay, 7 pounds is the weight. Mac is on point. So he's on point with fantasy.
7 pounds. That's what I meant to say.
He's on
I
point
meant to
with
say 7
games.
Pounds. That's what I meant.
You didn't say 7 pounds. You said 16 pounds. Like that's like a dumbbell.
It just came out wrong.
Carry this dumbbell for me.
It just came out wrong. Thank you, Namir. Yeah, close.
50 pounds.
Real close, Namir. That was a good.
Who is the youngest coach to ever win a Super Bowl?
Sean McVay.
Yes, you're right. That was easy. I gave you a host one. Fine. Here's one. What city has hosted the most Super Bowls?
Arizona.
No.
New Orleans?
No.
New Orleans, right.
Nimar.
Miami. Florida.
Yes, Miami is correct. God
damn it.
Which Dallas Cowboy had his helmet stolen in the 1994 Super Bowl?
I don't know. I was one.
Get with the program. It's called Google. 1994 Super Bowl. That would be the 93 season.
See,
I thought I was on as well.
I don't know because we didn't have the internet wasn't really prevalent then, so we didn't, just be able to go
ask Chat
stuff like that on Facebook.
Well, I will say it's a famous running back from the Cowboys.
Emmitt Smith.
Yes, Emmitt Smith is the answer. My God, I gave you guys a softball. I hope you hit that one out the park. Ha! Who did the Eagles play in their first?
For the Cowboys.
Who? You could have said Tony Dorsett. But he wasn't on the team in 1994.
The Patriots.
He sure was.
The Patriots.
I didn't even finish. Who did the Eagles play in their first Super Bowl?
It's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders.
They jumped to conclusion. Let the old people talk. Okay. Okay. How many Super Bowl rings do the Manning brothers have in total?
4.
Yes, 4.
4.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
How many times has there been a rematch in the Super Bowl?
That's for the Manning question. I'm going to just say
13.
8.
Zion with the actual retail price. 9 times. Zion, you would win this one if we were guessing. This is an easy one here. Who's the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl?
Doug Williams.
There you go, DW. When you're in trouble, you call DW. How much in 2024 do you guys think? This is more of an advertising question, but how much do you guys think a 30-second spot in the Super Bowl costs?
Probably 3.5 million.
No.
In 2024?
Yes.
You said 2024.
Like today.
30-second spot.
Yes.
Do I dare say?
That's what I said, Chris. That's exactly what I said.
I'll say two mil. I don't know.
Wrong. $7 million for a 30-second ad in the Super Bowl. $7 million.
Bro,
so
just go pay a kick streamer 100,000. They do it in.
So those ads you're waiting to see, that 30-second spot, the NFL is lining their coffers with advertising dollars right now. Advertising dollars.
Well, Roger Goodell did say that 200 million people in this country alone will be watching the game. That's just this country.
I thought 2 million. I thought 2 million was ridiculous. I think 7 million downright.
Man,
fudge.
Which wide receiver finished the Super Bowl with 100 receiving yards, or Super Bowl 50? I think this is 51. I don't even know the damn fucking numbers in Roman numerals. I can't Roman numerals that shit. It was T. Higgins, whatever that Super Bowl was a couple years ago.
Let's get it. Shout out to T. Higgins.
Here's an interesting one. How many pizzas are consumed during the Super Bowl?
Oh, man.
Phew. Come on. Yeah, millions of pizzas are consumed during the Super Bowl. I mean, millions are. That's like a good number on that.
It definitely is millions.
I'm gonna say I don't want that's a lot of pizza. I'm gonna just go low, but kind of still high.
There's a lot of people watching the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna say 23 million.
Ooh, no, but not even close. But you're in the millions. You are in the millions.
23 million.
Not even close.
I will say you're in the double-digit millions. But
123 million.
I said double digits, not triple-digit millions. Now we're doubling the price.
89 million.
Stop. 12.5 million pizzas are eaten apparently during the Super Bowl. 12.5 million pizzas. Mac, imagine if you had that many deliveries. Woo! Jesus. Wow.
I worked Super Bowl last year. I worked the Super Bowl Sunday, man, delivering pizzas, man. Shit was crazy.
Wow. How much are the halftime performers paid?
They're not paid.
Nothing.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's a trick question. That NFL is zany, isn't it? Crazy NFL. So we can keep going if you'd like. I have plenty more questions. If you want to do that, it's up to you guys. But
up to you guys. If you want to do a couple more, maybe we can do 2 or 3 more, and we can really talk about previewing the game. What everybody's waiting for.
Oh, I'm sure they're waiting for. I'm sure they're tuning in to see this robust talking points that we have about the Super Bowl here. So let's see if we have any questions here that are good. What teams have only ever won one Super Bowl?
The Eagles.
So what teams?
Yeah, teams. Multiple teams have won only a single Lombardi.
The Eagles, the Vikings.
No.
Vikings have not won any.
I didn't win any. That's right.
Way to go.
That sucks. I don't know.
It's the Jets, the Bears, the Saints,
Eagles,
the Seahawks.
Jets, the Bears.
Sorry, I should let Matt go.
You don't even let Mac answer.
Sorry, you took up all the airspace with your damn thing. Okay, so there was a good one about franchises. This was a good one. So, what NFL QB legend never got a Super Bowl ring? I mean, that's kind of stupid.
Dan Marino.
Yes, you got it. Wow,
that's facts.
Wow, that was I had a shot in the dark. There was one about how many Super Bowl? What franchises have the most Super Bowls in their history?
I'll let
What
Matt
team-
go first, and then I'll try.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steelers, and the Patriots.
Steelers and the Patriots is correct. They both have 6 trophies each. 6 trophies each. The next teams up are the Cowboys and the Niners with 5 apiece. I think there's also one other team with 5 in there.
No, I don't think so.
No, nobody
Oh,
else.
I don't believe so. I think that's it.
Nope.
Just them.
Wow, this is going to be a
Nobody
trick.
to mind else has 5.
This is going to be a trick question because you guys are never probably going to get this city. What city hosted the coldest Super Bowl ever?
I don't know.
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
No.
Wait. Let me get this. I'm gonna say
Seriously?
they talked about
No.
this. That's why they talked about this on the game. I think it was the second Super Bowl or something like that. Was it Kansas City?
No, apparently it's New Orleans. I have no idea how that happened, but
Okay. Fair enough.
that's too easy. No one's going to know that one.
I don't know how that happened either.
Which 2 starting quarterbacks won Super Bowls with 2 different teams?
Peyton Manning and
Peyton Manning.
Kurt Warner.
I feel like I
No.
know this.
He didn't win it. That's right.
Kurt Warner didn't win with the
He didn't win it,
Cardinals. Who the hell? I know this one. I feel like I know it. It's right on the tip
Yes.
of my tongue.
Yeah. When I tell you the answer, you're going to be like, damn it.
Oh, it's driving me. This is like nerve wracking.
Oh my
Tom
God.
Brady. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is correct.
You can't.
Did we do how many chicken wings were consumed on the Super Bowl Sunday?
Yes, we did.
No, we did pizzas.
We did pizza, not chicken wings. Yes.
That's the most consumed food, but not how much is consumed. Oh my God.
Yeah, that number's got to be
1.3 billion. 1.3 billion chicken wings are consumed.
That's a
And
lot of pizza.
just to let you know, how much money do Americans spend on beer? The exact same amount of money they spend on beer is the exact same amount of money they eat on wings. So 1.3 billion is spent on beer for Super Bowl Sunday. I will be contributing to that beer consumption on Super Bowl Sunday. So I will be contributing to that 1.3 million as we go throughout this weekend. Let's see. Any other? Let me just go through some of these. Some of these are funny. Just want to make sure. What was the highest score ever by one team in a Super Bowl game?
49ers with the 55.
Oh, Matt got it. And we're going to end on that, people. Matt got that one at the end of it, at the buzzer beating. I think that was the game they played the San Diego
Played the
Chargers.
Denver Broncos.
Oh, it was the Broncos?
I mean, yeah, that's what it was. I think it was the
Was it
Broncos.
the Chargers?
That was the one Jerry Rice. I can't remember. It might have been the Chargers one.
Jerry
I thought it
Rice
was the one
had
where Jerry
5
Rice had like
touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
Jerry Rice had 5 touchdowns.
He was
Steve
MVP
Young
of the
threw
game.
6 touchdowns in the game. I don't know that might not 6 touchdowns may not be 50 points, but who knows? But it was in the
They destroyed the Broncos in 80 and like 80, 89, I believe it was. They absolutely just destroyed the Broncos, man. I can't and I thought that was the game. Jerry Rice had a huge game. I don't remember. It was one of those though. It was either one of it was one of those two.
I will be drinking moonshine while watching this.
You're going to be drinking moonshine. Well, good luck seeing the second half of the game if you're drinking moonshine.
Damn, damn, Chad.
Denver Broncos. You're right. While watching the Super Bowl, well, we know where he'll be in halftime. Probably sleeping outside somewhere because that moonshine will hit you. If anyone knows what moonshine tastes like, it's not very good. But that is it for trivia. I will end on that note. Matt getting that question, taking us home. We can now talk about our takes for the game or our picks for the game.
Well said. Oh yeah, that being said, guys, we are going to be previewing Super Bowl. That's what everybody's here for. The fact that Jim Kelly wins his first Super Bowls in a row and never won is funny. Yeah,
It's not funny for Jim.
Yeah,
I don't think Jim's laughing
that's
about
tough.
that.
That's tough. I'm gonna step away real fast. I'm gonna ask the boys to hold it down, but I'll be right back. But the question is, let's just start with what's your guys' thoughts on the matchup? On both teams making it so far, and everyone said, no, I don't touch that.
Don't start drinking
That
before the
being
game. You
said-
won't be able to see the game.
Thank you, Wilson.
That moonshine will make you blind. That'll blind you.
That being said, I'm gonna use the bathroom, but I guess we'll start off with what you guys thoughts on both teams. Just making it. Shout out to Kansas City. Shout out to the 49ers, and then talk about both teams making it, and then I guess when I get back we can just preview it. But whoever wants to just host for a little bit and just talk about the Super Bowl, let's get it.
Well, it's the Super Bowl, folks, and we're back again with a rematch. This is one of the rematches that we're talking about. 49ers, Kansas City, different quarterback on the 49er team, same quarterback for Kansas City. And I think this is one of those games where if Mahomes wins, we're going to have to start talking to him in that Brady light because, someone was talking on the radio or on one of the spaces. Was it the spaces? But that if he wins, it'll be 3 Super Bowls. And where does it stop? He'll be 28 years old, 3 Super Bowls. The record would be what I think 7 by Tom Brady. Like, does he? How many does he get? Four is like an accomplishment alone. He'll be catching Montana, right? Who I think is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, and probably would have a ton more Super Bowls in this era if he was playing than the other era that he was in when he had to deal with, those big teams like the Bears, the Cowboys, and the
clotheslining him.
Yes, breaking his back by certain teams. So that's what it really comes down to me for this. It's the legacy building. Andy Reid's already going to the Hall of Fame. We're assuming that Patrick Mahomes, once all said and done, will be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm just looking for his legacy. He's done a great job as the best quarterback of our era. I don't think we'll see another. We watched the torch get passed, right? Remember, Tom Brady still, if we're using wrestling terms, showed you that he was the head of the table still when he played Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But now that mantle is passed on to Mahomes and the things that he does. He's an incredible athlete, incredible talent. And we talk about an elevator of people, he elevates everybody around him. The MVP probably should go to him every year. Probably should have went to him this year, but they can't give it out to him every year because it would look rigged and no one would pay attention to it. So I think that's one thing I want to see. Storyline-wise for the 49ers, they've come a long way. I'd like to see Christian McCaffrey get one, but Brock Purdy, I'd like to see him get one for many reasons. But the one reason I will say I don't want him to get one is because Giant fans are dumb. And they'll use this as a catalyst of like, well, see, you can get your quarterback in the 7th round and win a Super Bowl. No, that's going to take away from what Brock Purdy has accomplished in 23 games, and that is being an efficient passer, really working that system well, and that you can't take that away. The one thing that Bill Parcells said to his team is they never said you couldn't do it because you did, right? So I say that to Brock Purdy. If you win, no one can ever say you didn't do it because you did.
Well, look.
Oh, shit.
Looking forward to this matchup Sunday, man. This matchup Sunday is it's a great matchup. Two good teams. 40. I think if you look, if the game is not played on paper, obviously, but on paper the 49ers are bringing in a better football team here. I think overall, just all across the board, the 49ers just have a lot more guys right now than the Kansas City Chiefs do, as far as like just top level guys. But the one thing the 49ers don't have that the Chiefs have is, like Adam just said, they have Patrick Mahomes, man. And that's been a difference maker for this football team all season long. People who even remotely had any questions about Patrick Mahomes coming into this season, I think he shut that all down. He is the GOAT right now at that position of quarterback in the world. I mean, I know they don't play American football all over the world like they do some of the other sports, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world currently playing the game of football right now, American football right now. It's not even close.
They're going to
Not
Spain next year,
even
so you never know.
not even remarkably close. So you take a Patrick Mahomes with this Kansas City Chiefs team. They had all kinds of receiver issues. I mean, other than the obvious, the superstar tight end and Travis Kelsey obviously is still there.
What?
But other than
Kadarius
that,
Toney
all
is the
kinds
number
of other
one.
receiver issues, and all Patrick Mahomes did was take and elevate these guys and still able to be efficient enough to get the job done, even with all the costly mistakes that receiving core made. And I know it was times Patrick Mahomes probably really wanted to just cuss these guys out, man,
Like the
and say
Jet
a lot
game
of
comes
things,
to mind.
a few things that he wanted to say to his receiving core that did everything they could to let this Chiefs team down. A lot of the way doing it, they struggled through the regular season a bit. They absolutely struggled a bit during the regular season. And people were already kind of like thinking, kicking them to the wayside. If you got Patrick Mahomes, you always got a shot. When you got and that's his point, but he's the one player in this league you can take and put him on any team in this league and help to a threat. It doesn't matter what team it is. You can put him on the Carolina Panthers right now, and the Carolina Panthers will be a threat.
Oh, because there's nobody in the NFC.
Of Patrick Mahomes. That's the talent of Patrick Mahomes. Oh, what I'm just saying in general.
It won't be hard in the NFC. That's for sure.
That's the talent of Patrick Mahomes, man. That's what he brings to the table, man. And I look forward to a decent game. I think also the underrated. I think what people are not talking nearly enough about is this Chiefs defense. This Kansas City Chiefs defense has also been playing at a much different level this season and throughout the postseason. Man, they have really stepped it up even more so in the postseason. Man, I think this Chiefs defense it kind of reminds me of the 2011 New York Giants team where they were decent through the season for the most part, but then they really ramped it up when it came to the money time in the playoffs, and this is it reminds me of that a little bit. This Chiefs defense, I think, is not getting enough credit as well. I mean, we've been giving Patrick Mahomes. I've been giving Patrick Mahomes a lot of love, and because he's absolutely great. He's a stud. Like I said, he's the best at what he does. But this Chiefs defense also is a factor, and I think that's going to be the X factor in this football game on Sunday. Will ultimately be the Chiefs defense. I think they're going to be what's going to put the Chiefs over the top in this one. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
If you like defense, then Steve Spagnuolo is the guy you bet on because he is going to do things to like he had the GOAT Tom Brady spinning. I'll never forget in 2007. He's commanding that defense, and they did an A-gap blitz where they thought they were bringing Antonio Pierce, and they ended up bringing Kavika Mitchell on the backside, and it totally confused Tom Brady and that offensive scheme, and that was Tom Brady we're talking about, right? Now you have Brock Purdy in the game. I think there's going to be a disguise or two, a blitz that you haven't seen from the Kansas City Chiefs. This is where it's going to come out. This is where you're going to see maybe a Nick Bolton look like he's going to drop back in coverage and then bang, hit that A-gap and blitz right up the middle. Because, Christian McCaffrey goes out on a little, dump off. So we'll see what Spagnuolo can do. If I'm a betting man, Spagnuolo has a very good track record against young quarterbacks. I'm not saying Brock Purdy can't beat Steve Spagnuolo. I'm just saying Steve Spagnuolo has been known in his career, especially with the Chiefs, to fool quarterbacks into baiting them into turnovers. Look what he did last year against Jalen Hurst. Look what he did against, Tom Brady. Look what he did the year they won against the 49ers as well. And this time his defense is far less talented than it was those previous years. Remember, they don't have Tyrann Matthews anymore. They don't have a couple of those big name players that they got. They still have Chris Jones, which is a major piece, obviously a disruptor. And they have some guys coming into their own. Karlakis is coming into their own. Right, they have Nick Bolton, like I mentioned. They have Drew Tranquill, the linebacker, running sideline to sideline. So they have some guys that can rush the passer, and they are averaging 17 points a game, and not giving up more than 228 yards per game. This Chiefs defense is flying under the radar on how well they've played. They bottled up many teams in the playoffs. Look what they did with Josh Allen. Okay, look what they've done with Lamar Jackson, and obviously their opening game at home. I think they played Miami. Look what they did to them in that game as well. And when we talk about an elevator, when I see Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to go because that's what he does. He's like the elevator that you go to in a mall, in a store with all the floors. He can just take you wherever you need to go and bring you there safely. I'm going to call him the elevator, boom, because no matter what happens, he's elevating his team. He's elevating players. Remember what Max said. They were in a transition mode. They had nobodies. This is what we talk about when we talk about greatness. Okay, when you take guys off the street, Richie James, freaking Kadarius Toney, Scanling Jr., Rasheed Rice, the list goes on, and you make those guys functional, okay? Functional, because you're that good of a player. And you saw what Andy Reid did at the end of that game. He put the ball in his best player's hands, and he delivered. And that's what happens. And guys, what I've heard from players around the league is when you get a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you don't want to disappoint him. You don't want to disappoint him because you may never get the football again. So you're going to try to make those plays and make those plays at a high level because you never know what they're going to do. And then when you elevate these guys and you do what you do, you end up with Mahomes, who had a down year, but it still technically should be an MVP year with how he played with the people on his team. Off my soapbox. Go ahead.
No, I think you guys made two great points. We're gonna go down to like previewing the outcome of the game on how you guys think the game is gonna play out, and then I want to hear you guys' predictions. But before that, I will say that you guys made great points. It does start off at the top. I missed a little bit of Adam's beginning of his point, but got the gist of what he was saying. Not to echo anything, but you got the coaches, you got Andy Reid, you got Kyle Shanahan. Both excellent coaches with the coaching staffs respected around the league, feared around the league. You know what I'm saying? We got two great quarterbacks in their own right. It's the underdog, last pick of the draft versus the guy who's trying to repeat. That said before the year started that he's going to repeat. A lot of people counted them out throughout the year with the Kansas City Chiefs, but this is, I believe, Adam said a little bit, touched on that a little bit. I believe for me, this is the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has ever had. It starts all up front with Chris Jones. It starts with the scouting department and the developmental department. With being able to draft these players and then not only draft them, but get the right coaches in-house to develop them. I think that's absolutely amazing. All starts with the offensive line, and then with the quarterbacks and the safeties, and then looking at over the defense with Chris Jones up front, and then what they have there. But getting into the receivers, they do have young players in Reggie Rice and Watson that is probably gonna get his throughout when his time comes. I could see maybe a trick play from Tony. But Adam laid it out perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Getting these players that a lot of people would think, that would probably not even make rosters, and do something with them. Patrick Mahomes is special. Matt covered that. And that being said, I want to ask the boys. I think I covered everything what I wanted to cover at that point. I'm gonna ask the boys. How do you guys think the game's gonna play out? I'll probably begin. And then I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. I think it might be a defensive game at first, but Kansas City kind of, pulling ahead. Reason being is I can see the 49ers defense kind of being a bit jumpy. They do have a lot of household names, but it comes down to experience. Although a lot of people played in big time games, a lot of the roster hasn't been around for the last time they appeared in the Super Bowl. And that being said, even though the foundation is good, it isn't just another game. It is the Super Bowl. I think Patrick Mahomes and the defense and the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be more composed and more calm in the moment, pull out ahead. I do have the 49ers coming back slowly, kind of later. And my prediction, I want to say the Chiefs. I want to say the Chiefs repeat. My heart's saying the Chiefs repeat. Call me crazy if if what I'm about to say, but I honestly believe that Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy is going to be standing at that pedestal. Something tells me to just take the 49ers because I believe a late comeback, the Chiefs are going to probably pull ahead maybe by, I would say, 7 to 10 points. And then the 49ers come back with that defense. And we're going to see some key mistakes on Kansas City's defense. I call me crazy. I just see that that's how it's playing out. And I'm going to have the game ending with probably a score of I don't know a deadlock score, but I would probably see a score of 28-24 or 27-24 with the kick with the game winning field goal. Call me crazy, but I have the 49ers winning. Who wants to take it?
Well, I think you know where I'm going with this. Obviously, as I mean, look, I just don't bet against the best, man. And Patrick Mahomes is the best until proven otherwise, man. He's the best. He's taking this Kansas City Chiefs team, like I said, that came in. A lot of people, counting them out, thinking they just weren't the same team anymore, and they're not really. But they have one thing consistent, and it's a big thing, and that's Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick Mahomes he's just his greatness is going to shine through once again. This is yet another opportunity for him to kick down yet another door, which he doesn't necessarily need to. Like I said, Adam, you mentioned earlier. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has already done enough in his career that they can already start making his bust in Canton whenever he retires, man, and hangs it up. But with that being said, man, like I said, I also think when it comes, like I said, it comes down to this Chiefs defense also being the X factor in this game. I think this Chiefs defense will find a way to trip up Brock Purdy enough and force a few mistakes, enough of mistakes that I think is going to take the Chiefs over the top ultimately in this game, as well as having Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball doing the things that he's going to do. He's going to put that team in a position to score points. He's going to put that team in a position to win the football game. That you can already book it. You know that's going to happen. I mean, yes, he lost a couple of years to Tom Brady, who at the time was the GOAT as well. But it's a new day, and Patrick Mahomes is definitely the new sheriff in town. I mean, even in that game that they lost, Patrick Mahomes playing in front of an absolute patchwork offensive line was still out there giving it everything he had. It was one point where he threw a pass where he was completely in a horizontal position. His body was in a horizontal position in the air, and he was still throwing passes down the field at angles like that. That's how great Patrick Mahomes is, and I think like I said, I believe top to bottom, 49ers had the better roster. I just think that Patrick Mahomes just gives this team, the Chiefs, the edge, and gives them what they need, and they're going to go out there and they're going to win this football game on Sunday and disappoint the 49ers yet again in the big Super Bowl rematch, man. I don't have a
I
score on
love
this,
it.
I don't know.
I love it. We'll get into. I'm gonna let Adam speak, but we'll get into MVPs and talks of that a little bit later on. The show is about to close out in about 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm gonna let Adam give his game how he sees it, going, and who he has been in. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, this game is interesting for me because the 49ers have more of the pressure on them than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, again, like Max said, weren't supposed to be here. Their season was up and down. But with that being said, they're here. And I think they're going to do what they did last year. They're going to keep the game close, try to not make mistakes, try to force the 49ers into making mistakes. And then at halftime, they're going to make their adjustments, and I think they'll pull away at that point because I just think that look what they've done in football. Okay, look what they've done to the couple of the best teams in the AFC. They beat Miami. They absolutely made Miami look like a train wreck, right? Then they beat the Buffalo Bills, right? Made them look like a train wreck in their building when they were supposed to lose in Orchard Park. Went into Baltimore and basically shut that team down. Even though they did get shut out in the second half of that game, they don't need to do it. I think the big factor here will be the two running backs, whether it's CMC, but I think Isaiah Pacheco will have a big factor in the game. I think what the Kansas City Chiefs will try to do is play grind it out, slug it out football. And not because the 49ers, as much as they like to slug it out, they're a quick scoring team. They got Debo Samuels, they got Brandon Ayuk, they got CMC. They're trying to get chunk plays, big plays. They're trying to get you one-on-one and mismatches. That's what they're trying to do, right? That's how they came back in those games. If you keep it in a slugfest, that's not what they like to do. They like to get up and then they can bludgeon you with their defense, right? But if you keep the game close, they can't have that same they don't have that same dynamic playmaking ability. So I think if I'm Kansas City, I'm keeping the game close. And again, Mahomes, you will see if Brock Purdy is really the cool as cucumber, as they say, because what Patrick Mahomes does to your entire defense, and this is like the Jordan effect. So when you're playing Michael Jordan, you cannot make a mistake. You do not want to trash talk him. You don't want to do anything to poke the bear because you know you're already at a disadvantage because of how good he is. Do not poke the bear here. Do not get Mahomes in your head because the more you shit talk, the more you kind of get up. That's how he fuels his fire. And then when he doesn't make a mistake and his team is flawless, because they're going to not get many penalties. They don't get penalized. It's Mahomes' way, right? If you start to get penalties and start getting in your head and start throwing up ducks and, thinking you're going to come back in the second half of this game like you did against the Lions, you have nothing coming. This team has been there before. They've done it before, and they know how to close the door on the weaker teams. And don't be that team that closes the door on.
Well said. Well said. Well said. I do want to bring up a few things real fast. I did want to say in mine, but I missed them. In defending, you guys had great points. Adam, you didn't say who do you think wins, and if you want to give a score prediction, by the way.
I'm not going to say a score prediction because it's a crazy score, but I think Kansas City's going to win just for the fact that experience pays. They've been dominant in their playoff games. It's not like they've they've been dominant, right? And they played the best team in football, arguably, and shut them out to 10 points. And now you're going to play the 49ers, who struggled against the Lions. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to play on some of those struggles that the 49ers had. They're going to take advantage.
Struggled against Green Bay as well, by the way, might I add. They also struggled against the Packers.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the 49ers. Yeah, they were on the ropes in that game against the Packers until the Packers made a few mistakes, obviously. But I think this is a different animal. I'm telling you, people got to take I say it again, the Mahomes factor, because you've got to. When Mahomes steps out on that field, you know you have to be extra great, and that's what sometimes leads to mistakes. Sometimes leads to you pressing and making those egregious errors because you're trying to be too perfect.
Absolutely. I can see a lot of things going on in this game, and I don't want to have a whole take again. But I want to point that out. My problem with it's not really a problem. But what I see is like I know how special Mahomes is and how he can freeze the defense. And I don't have a problem with him doing what he does because he's the GOAT, and I want him. That's why if if a gun was to my head, I'll probably pick the Chiefs. But this is what I think. I think it's the receivers that I'm not comfortable with, because when you have a coach like Kyle Shanahan that really wants it badly, he's gonna find a way to somewhat take Travis Kelce out of the game. Does he? Probably not, because it's Travis Kelce. It's kind of like the Gronk effect, you know what I'm saying? You can plan for Gronk, but he's going to get open one way or another. Travis Kelce is going to get open one way or another. But when it comes down to it, say they know that. I love it that Adam brought up the running backs, because that's something that I totally missed over in my point as well. And I do have something to say about the MVP and stuff like that, because I really do. It comes down to stopping the ones on both sides, right? If you easier said than done. If you stop Kelce, if you stop Pacheco, and then these wide receivers outside of Rice, I don't trust. I can see Mahomes putting it right where the ball needs to put it, but some drops, okay? Some drops. And when you tie into the point that it's going to be a close game, I see, obviously, Chiefs being my calm under pressure, pulling out ahead, Pacheco having some games, maybe getting a few touchdowns, because I really don't think that Mahomes in this game is going to be able to throw the football over the yard. I think a lot of receivers are going to get covered, and I think if you're smart enough, you'll find a way to take Travis Kelce out of this game. And when you do that, you know, and with all the weapons that Brock Purdy has, I see them kind of looking at almost losing against the Green Bay Packers and looking at almost getting eliminated against the Lions as two hungry teams that wanted it super badly, and every team does. But them looking at it like, hey guys, let's kind of like simplify it. Like I get it, We want to go down the field and we want to do all of that big stuff. But I can honestly see them putting in the balls of maybe a lot of runs with Deebo Samuel, a lot of just getting out fast to Christian McCaffrey, a lot of just using the playmakers and not forcing Brock Purdy to really get confused of what Spags is going to bring. And we all know that Spags is going to bring a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to drag it on. Without further ado, let's talk about who do you guys have winning MVP of this game, if you guys do have any. Um, I'm gonna let Adam go first.
Well, if the Kansas City Chiefs wins, it's going to possibly be, well, not possibly, it will be my Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if the Chiefs win. If the 49ers end up winning, I could see them giving it to a CMC, that type of player on the 49ers. But because I have the Chiefs winning, I'll give it to Patrick Mahomes.
Love it, love it. Mac, who do you guys got? Who do you got winning MVP?
Well, ditto with Kansas City. If Kansas City wins, I'm just have a hard time thinking of anyone else that would be the MVP other than Patrick Mahomes, unless Pacheco does get enough opportunities to do the things that I know that young man's capable of doing. But I really think that's just if Kansas City wins, it's most likely easily Patrick Mahomes. That'll be the reason, and he'll be the MVP. But 49ers. And I don't want to seem like I'm just, kind of shitting on Brock Purdy here. I just don't see it as much of a slam dunk for him to be the MVP if the 49ers win, even though he is the quarterback. And I agree with Adam. I think it would take, for the 49ers to win this football game, I think it'll take an MVP like performance from CMC or even another guy who I'm a big fan of on the 49ers is my guy, Deebo Samuel. I think and take some huge plays from him as well, possibly. So I could see maybe possibly one of those couple of those guys being in the mix of the 49ers win the MVP. I could see that happen. I could see it being like one of those couple of guys. I think it'll take those kind of performances from those guys anyway for the 49ers to win this football game.
I love it. I love it. Um, I'm gonna see how the game plays out. I don't think it's gonna be like a Mahomes for 100 type of game. I don't think it's gonna be a Brock Purdy for 100 type of game. I honestly think it's gonna be a Mahomes 200 yard game, a Brock Purdy 200 yard game. Um, these playmakers like CMC getting majority of that. Debo Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle. If Kittle gets involved, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Kittle. If you guys think he's gonna be a playmaker in this game as well. But I also do see it mostly majority coming down to CMC on the San Francisco side. If you turn it over to the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City side, like I said, I don't see Mahomes going nuts on this defense. He might do a lot of it in the first quarter when they're still trying to get adjusted. But once San Francisco gets grounded, or maybe they make adjustments at half, I honestly think that Kyle Shanahan and that defense finds a way to stop him and let Pacheco go. Let Pacheco get his. And if Pacheco gets multiple touchdowns, I see it going to Pacheco's. And a part of me wants to give it to if the Chiefs win, I want to give it to the defense because I honestly think they need the Chiefs defense and Chris Jones and Trent, all of those guys back there to have a really big game for them to win this game because I don't think Kyle Shanahan is a coach where I honestly don't think, as special as Mahomes is, Mahomes and Travis Kelce can do it alone. They're gonna need that defense. It's a team game, obviously. Everybody knows that. But I want to see the defense win it. But they don't give it as a unit. They would never do that. So I'm gonna honestly say it, the way I see the game playing out in my mind, I'm gonna say Pacheco. I'm gonna say Pacheco. Um We're about 2 hours on this. I'm good. I probably said everything I wanted to say. If there's anything else you guys want to say, I'm gonna let you guys talk, and then but I will want to say a couple words before I pass it over to you, Mac, to end it out completely. But is there anything else you guys want to say about the Super Bowl?
Just look forward to a great matchup, man. I think this is a good matchup between two really good teams, two very well coached football teams. You got a future Hall of Fame head coach on the one sideline. You got one of the great young coaches in the NFL right now on the other sideline. You got two really good football teams. Like I said, you got the best quarterback in the world on Kansas City. You got just like a phenomenal offensive cast of characters on San Fran, man. Should be an exciting football game, and just everybody sit back and enjoy it, man. I mean, these teams matched up a few years ago in the Super Bowl. It was a good game that year. I think this year, it could even be a better one this go around on Sunday, man. So really just enjoy the game, make smart choices, be safe, whatever you do. However you party and however you want to enjoy watch the game, just do it. Be safe, be smart, and just have fun, man. Enjoy it, man. And it should be hopefully it's a good one. We can all sit back and talk about this one 10, 15 years from now as an all-time great Super Bowl, man.
Absolutely, Adam. Is there any final things you want to say?
You know, it's just gonna be fun. We're finally here. I usually take the Super Bowl as a celebration of the start of the new football season, right? Everything ends. It's a party. We really get the off season kicked off. We really get the season the off season ended. And it's just one of those things where it's like, the culmination of who won. I don't really necessarily care who wins the Lombardi. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy because the real work starts, the off season, and as you guys know, I'm more of an off season fan than a NFL game fan. As much as I watch the games, I love diving into the roster building and the construction and studying players and doing all that fun stuff. And I'm looking forward to the off season because I think it's a big one for the Giants, an absolutely huge one for the Giants. So once that hits triple zeros on Super Bowl Sunday, everybody's back to 0-0.
Absolutely, well said, well said. And I will say this, everybody, like you guys said, just enjoy the game. I'm a fan of the NFL. Like Adam said, I just wanna. I don't really care who wins. I may think certain team may win, but at the end of the day, I want to just see a good game. I hope everybody is out there safe. Hopefully, nobody gets injured. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, the ads, the commercials, the advertisements are worth watching. Um, and I will say this: we didn't really cover any of the hiring. Talking about the New York Giants, we were gonna get into them. It looks like we did hire the defensive coordinator from the Titans to be our defensive coordinators, and Shane, and we also did hire their offensive coordinator to be our tight ends coach. So we are going to be digging into that when we come back next Friday. We'll recap the Super Bowl, of course. We'll get into the WWE press conference. That was pretty lit. I don't know if you guys watched that. Maybe in a casual. I'm getting back into it. That was pretty exciting. We'll probably be talking about that. NBA All-Star Weekend is full effect. We'll cover the NBA a little bit closer, and then the main topic. Obviously this time of the year is what Adam just said, the reset. Now we can talk about the draft. We can start, pulling up a lot of these players. We're gonna go probably position by position and talk about them as a group. And then we have a lot of stuff planned for premium takes in the upcoming months. So stay tuned. It's a fun time to be an NFL fan, and hopefully you guys have an amazing Super Bowl Sunday. And we forgot to do this, so I'm gonna say mine more fast, and then I want Adam to say his, and then Mac pass it over to Mac, and he'll say his, and he'll close it out. What is you guys' Super Bowl dish? I'll probably just be doing some hamburgers on hot dogs, nothing too crazy. Some chips maybe. I'll probably I didn't get some chicken, so I'll probably avoid chicken this time. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat chicken like 5 days out of the week. I love me some chicken, so I'll probably not eat chicken for this one. But that being said, yeah, that'll probably be mine: hamburgers and hot dogs. So, Adam, what is your food of choice for this Super
Well,
Bowl Sunday?
we're probably gonna have some wings. We're probably gonna do little mozzarella sticks. Got some
Nice.
nachos. We're gonna try to do so, and it's only gonna be Me and my wife probably, but I like to have a lot of food and a lot of fun. And there's 4 quarters, so I want 4 different dishes for each
I
quarter.
love
So
it.
I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see. And obviously have an adult beverage in my hand as well. So that's about it.
Love it. Love it. Mac, how about yourself? And close it out. We're done here.
I am a traditionalist, so it's gonna be some wings, pizza, and beer, and I'm good to go, man. And you have a happy Giants fan watching the Super Bowl. Some wings, pizza, and beer,
Love
and I will be having that aplenty on Sunday while I'm watching the football game.
it.
I think I'm going to wear my stretch pants.
Let's get it.
But
That's what's up.
everybody, we do appreciate y'all hanging out with the Horsemen for the last 2 hours, man. It's been awesome. It's been a super dope episode of the Premium Takes podcast, man. Love doing this each and every Friday night with my guys. Man, throw them fours up for the one and only NYG Jeffy T, always here representing with us, man. No doubt indeed. Everybody enjoy the game Sunday. Enjoy the commercials. Whatever you're watching it for, enjoy Taylor Swift. Whatever you're watching the game for, just enjoy. Enjoy the
Yeah, we'll be
game.
there.
Have fun. It's the Super Bowl. It is the Super Bowl after all, man. And thank y'all once again for coming out to the and joining us for another edition of the Premium Takes podcast. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. Make sure y'all go to each of our channels, hit that subscribe button, man. Help out, support our channels, man. No doubt indeed. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Everybody in the chat, you all been great, man. And like I said, enjoy the game on Sunday. This has been another edition of the Premium Takes podcast. We will see y'all next Friday. Hey!